Welcome to InnerStrengthCheckPodcast.com. Thank you for joining us it'll be your morning, Alex, of
Yeah,
UK very fast rising metalers Malevolence. How's things going over there, mate?
all good, mate. All good. The sun is shining in Sheffield, and there's no better place to be when the sun's shining. So, yeah, all good. Very busy, as you can imagine. So, yeah, excited to be excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Not my pleasure, my pleasure. And the interesting thing is, I just spoke with Bleed from Within and Benediction, and they both had sunny weather. So I think our two nations have swapped weather this week. So
You know
whether
what? We,
it's
we were due a little bit of sun over here in the
I'll
UK.
bet.
It's been a long winter.
Yeah, yeah. And you're coming out of winter and you're coming into quite a lot of things happening with you've had your recent single that has been released, which has an interesting cameo, I think, if people haven't already seen it. And yeah, you guys have just been on just such an upshot trajectory. Things have really kind of accelerated for you guys fast. So what's the atmosphere? What's the to use a weather metaphor again? What's the kind of the atmosphere of the band at the moment? How are you guys feeling about everything?
I think, well, to start well, so we got back from a US tour with our friends in Counterparts last week. And so this week, the last 7 days is kind of just us having a little bit of downtime,
Yeah.
seeing friends, family, stuff like that. Our drummer Charlie, he got married yesterday.
Oh wow,
Um,
congrats, Charlie.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, it's kind of been a bit of downtime, bit of home life.
Mm,
But generally speaking, we're just very busy, getting everything with the album ready. So we actually recorded the album a year ago this month.
mm,
So everything in the last 12 months has kind of been leading up to these next few months that we're in now.
mm.
Um, so we're enjoying home life, but we're also, we know that we've got things to do and like things to be working on.
Yeah.
And generally, we're just very excited. The reaction to the first two singles has been amazing.
Mm,
And like the feedback's been really positive, which is, really nice to hear after, when you wait quite a while to release your music and then you finally put it out,
yeah.
you're always a bit apprehensive about how it's going to go down, but yeah, the reaction's been great. Really excited, and just excited to put more out now and get the album out June 20th. It's gonna be great.
Mm. Do you feel, I guess, I'm imagining that you'd be feeling a mix of apprehension but also impatience because you've been waiting for it to release for quite a while, yeah?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like the you've always got to have an element of patience, I guess, 'cause with this being not our first album, we're kind of
Mm.
used to the process almost.
Yeah.
But it still doesn't really get any easier every time. You kind of just want to put it out and have done
Mm.
with it and like be like, right, it's out, go and enjoy it. But this part is always a bit fun as well. We're thinking of ways that we can put the album in front of new people and
Mm.
how we can reach a bigger audience. And that you can have some fun as well along the way. So yeah, yeah, you've got to have a bit of patience, unfortunately. It's the
Mm.
name of the game.
Mm. And I think that patience is paying off for you guys because, as mentioned, like you've just come back off the back of a tour with Counterparts. How did that go, by the way?
It was good. It was definitely like a venture into a new crowd for us.
Mm.
I feel like there were a lot of shows where people didn't know who we were, which was great for us. It's an
Mm.
opportunity to play to a new audience that hasn't heard of us before and potentially pick up new fans. Um, and yeah, there was some really cool shows on that tour. Like New York it was the first time we played New York City.
Mm.
That was sick. Crazy show. Playing in like places like Detroit, like there are a few places like big cities where excuse me, that we've never played before.
Mm.
So like having the opportunity to play in front of those crowds was sick. And we get along well with the counterparts lads. Pain of Truth, who were also on the bill.
Mm,
We've toured with them before. They're some of our favorite people to tour with. We all get along really well. And Foreign Hands, who were also on the bill, who that was our first time kind of meeting those lads, but they were a bunch of legends as well. So, it was a fun tour, good
yeah.
vibes, and yeah, we went over there to hopefully play to a new crowd, and I feel like we did that.
Mm. Speaking of playing to new crowds, like even when you guys have toured here, so for instance, I live near Geelong in regional Vic, and you've done a run of shows in regional Australia too. Seems like you guys are pretty busy. You've got the hardcore band spirit with gigging, I think, because I noticed that you guys have played a mix of, say, for instance, you guys have played Bloodstock, and for starters, you're on an early afternoon bill. And you've been kind of climbing the ranks over time, but I've noticed that like when you guys have toured here, so for instance, you did Not Fest in 2023. You did a more recent tour that you'd done a lot of regional shows as well, which is great.
Yeah, yeah, and Australia is one of our favorite places to play in the whole world. Every time we come there, we have a great time. The sun always obviously helps, the great weather,
Yeah.
but just the I guess like the culture of Australia is just to make everybody feel welcome. Every time we come there, everyone's very everyone's very friendly. I feel like
Mm.
Australia and England have a lot in common.
Yeah,
The UK
absolutely.
have a lot in common. We're kind of cut from the same cloth, so I feel like our humor and our banter kind of get
Yeah.
goes both ways. We understand each other a lot. Um, and yeah, we're just every time we come there, it's just a good time. So I'm looking forward to coming back at the end of this month, and looking forward to doing some headline shows as well. It's the first
Mm.
time we've headlined over there,
Mm.
and the pre-sale tickets are selling really well. So
Mm.
yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's definitely going to be a highlight of the year for sure.
And have you played with Alpha Wolf before in the past? Because I know that I think they're supporting as well, Alpha Wolf, and I don't have off the top of me who's playing every show, but I believe
Yeah,
you've
so
got
we've
some. Mm,
yeah we've done. I'm not sure if we've ever played a show with them. I know that like we've crossed paths with them a couple of times.
yeah.
But off the top of my head, I can't remember if we've actually ever played the same show together. But I think like we're excited to tour with them boys. Like they're obviously huge in Australia,
Mm,
and they're doing really well at the moment. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I feel like we're going to get along well. And I was actually talking to Sabian last night, and yeah, it's going to be sick. I feel like it's a solid lineup.
yeah.
Like playing in places as well in Australia that we've never been before, like the more rural places, the places
Mm,
that I'm hearing don't get shows that often. So
mm.
it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, fantastic. So there's just been so much going on for you guys. I mean, we could do an hour interview, and you still wouldn't be through your recent task list. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
yeah, how's it felt for you as a vocalist in particular? From a vocalist perspective, being able to deliver like the material from where only the truth is spoken, because I know you've spoken in the past about how that has a lot of personal resonance with the lyrical themes. How's it felt to get up and actually get though like this new round of lyrics out specifically in the current form?
I mean, it's great, man. I love the new songs. I feel like they're some of my favorite songs that I've written lyrically.
Mm, mm,
I feel like it's a really we've worked hard on the lyrics on this album as a
mm,
collective. So to get out and finally play these songs and see people picking up the words straight away and singing along, it's
mm,
uh, it's good to know that it's resonating with people.
mm.
Um, and they're generally like they're fun songs to sing. They're like Trenches especially. It's got a kind of rap flow to it. So
Yeah.
live, it's fun. You can kind of play with it a little bit. Um,
Mm.
yeah, it's good fun. And I think when we start playing, if it's all the same to you, that'll be a fun song as well because there's some fast vocal patterns on that. It's kind of a challenge almost to
Yeah.
to get through these songs, some of them. And we are our own biggest competition, so we're always trying to better ourselves. And like the idea of a new challenge in the set is daunting sometimes, but also fun. I mean, as well, you can kind of play with it and see, oh, where can I fit a mosh call in, or what am I going to get the crowd to do on this part? So
Mm,
yeah, it's
mm.
exciting.
Lets you be a little bit more experimental so that rather than say just getting up and it feeling a bit routine after a while, you can kind of play with it a bit more dynamically in a live sense. Is that sort of what you mean?
Yeah, yeah,
Mm.
exactly that. And also we've been playing like the songs off Malicious Intent and the album out the previous albums for quite a few years now. So to be able to have a new song or a new couple of songs in the set list, it kind of, it brings a bit of excitement back to it, and you're like, oh yes, new song.
Yeah.
Let's see how this goes down and how the crowd react to that. Just
Yeah.
keeps things fresh. So I think after a while, sometimes playing the same songs a while can get boring. So
Yeah, I
yeah, it's
can't imagine.
good to
You say,
switch it
for
up.
instance, yeah, exactly. Like, I can't imagine how sick Metallica are with Master of Puppets, for instance, you know?
Yeah,
It's
probably
good.
very, very sick of it.
So, with regards to the album itself, so I'm not sure if people are aware of this, but you recorded it on the Nave 808 console at Dave Grohl's Studio 606. So,
Yeah.
how was that experience? I mean, there's been rumors, Fleetwood Mac's rumors, Nevermind. There's been some real classic material that's kind of gone through that studio that you guys recorded. So, how was that whole experience for you? Being in Dave Grohl's kind of iconic studio environment for this album.
It was sick. It was absolutely sick. So we actually did all the drums for the album at, at Dave Grohl studio, and yeah, the desk that we recorded on, Fleetwood Mac recorded on it, Nirvana recorded on it. Some legendary artists have all made music on that desk, so which is pretty sick.
Mm,
Um, when we were in the studio, like on the side of the actual desk itself, there's like Fleetwood Mac have signed it, and there's like a bunch of artists that over the years,
wow.
like legendary names that have signed it. So it's kind of surreal, being in that environment. For me personally, I almost felt like didn't feel like we necessarily belonged to be in there,
Mm, mm,
But that being said, like the whole studio is sick. There's a lot of memorabilia in there, and a lot
nice.
of like things from over the years of like Nirvana and Foo Fighters and stuff like that that have got a lot of sentimental value, and it's a very motivational and inspiring place to record music, because you see adorned on the walls are like the successes of bands that are like previously mentioned, and it
Mm,
makes you wanna it makes you want to write and record, and really go hard on it. So
mm,
yeah, it was a really nice environment. Also, being out in California, the sun shining, it's beautiful weather, and yeah, it was just a really good vibe. We didn't have a lot of time there, so Charlie, our drummer, really he smashed out all the drums for the whole
mm.
album in like under a week, which is
Wow.
crazy. Yeah, it was like finish one song straight in with another.
Damn.
So yeah, it was. I mean, it was a graft for him, but for the rest of the lads, it was pretty cool just to be able to sit back and hang out in that legendary spot.
Mm, mm. Props to him for getting getting through it that quickly.
Mm.
Um, Yeah, so it's just I'm kind of just sitting here thinking like, you guys have been on a really sort of it's been almost a meteoric rise. Like I'd heard you guys around I think your first album and it was sort of popping up on the radar. And with your last LP, that's when I feel like in the Australian media landscape, that's when you guys really kind of accelerated. You had a lot more sort of presence shows, that kind of thing. How has it felt like the last, because it's been particularly, I think, post-lockdown, really, where we've really seen your guys' like trajectory, at least over here, and maybe also the US, I could be wrong, taking off. How's it felt to sort of to be on this track? It seems like it's picking up quite quickly, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like ever since the lockdown, it was kind of we going back, we released an EP during lockdown, the other side EP,
Mm,
and when we came back after lockdown, we played the download pilot, which was like the test event for Europe to see if we could open up and start having large scale events again.
mm,
So it was like all eyes on that event really, and we didn't really appreciate until we stepped out on that stage at that event how much the band had grown since or during the lockdown.
mm.
Um, and there was like 7,000 people in that tent at the time, and it was
Wow.
just all of a sudden you kind of gone from no shows to being thrust into one of the biggest shows we've ever played. It was a bit overwhelming to be honest, but at the time it was so sick because it was we were like there was so much uncertainty about whether the industry was going to bounce back or whatnot.
Mm,
And yeah, I feel like because of that event, the band kind of got into well just we started picking up some momentum, and just from then it just seems to have been slowly on the increase. And
mm.
don't get me wrong, I still feel like there's a lot more that we can be doing and there's a lot more that we've still to achieve.
Yeah.
But I definitely like that was a point where we noticed like, okay, this is gone up a level for sure.
Mm,
Um, and yeah, I'm just like just super grateful for everyone who's supported the band since day one and all the new people that have joined us since and who are just discovering us now. We I'm getting to live out my childhood dream of being in a band touring the world, and that's all I've ever really wanted to do. So um, it's sick. I'm having a good time right now. And occasionally I feel like sometimes we can take it for granted. If you're like towards the back end of a tour and you're tired and you're wearing down, and uh, it can be hard sometimes to take a minute to reflect on how far you've come. And I find myself having to check myself every now and again, and
yeah.
just remind myself that it wasn't that long ago that we didn't have any of this. We didn't have no shows. Everybody was stuck at home. So I think
Mm.
it's good to take a minute and reflect on how far we've come since then.
So I think I've got a couple more questions before we wrap up. And around those reflections, I think first and foremost, so you mentioned that taking some time to reflect where you've come from, where you've been to. And I think it's easy for people to say, oh, such and such, oh, they're new kids on the block, blah, 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 blah. But what they might not necessarily be seeing is a whole hell of a lot of grind. And even with the touring circuit, that sort of thing. I think you guys, as even in the UK, you guys have a reputation for doing like a lot of shows and getting stuck in prior to this, like, I guess we can call it, breakthrough or whatever you would like to call it. Um, for you, in terms of that childhood dream, though, what sort of particular idols or influences, who I guess kind of informs and inspires your craft as a vocalist? Is there any sort of any particular genres or people in particular, or it's a bit more of a mixed bag? How's that look for you?
Um, I guess in terms of like heavy metal inspirations, I'd be looking towards bands like Lamb of God, Hatebreed,
Yeah.
them kind of household names that have like I've watched and grown up
Mm,
grown up listening to. Um, like Jasta with his lyrical delivery, Randy with his stage presence, his ability to
mm,
get a crowd going.
yeah.
Um, and then I guess just like also the kind of the scene around us, like in the UK, seeing other bands achieving greatness, like bands like Not Loose, who are our friends,
Oh, yeah.
seeing how much they have blown up and the levels that they've achieved doing their style of metal or hardcore, whatever you want to call it. And that's inspiring, and it's great to see. And like, not only are they our friends, they're like they're one of the biggest bands in the world right now. So, um, you know, the kind of inspiration comes in all different shapes. You know, you've got your old school heads who've kind of paved the way, and then you've got the guys who are flying the flag for the new breed and pushing
Mm,
things, and you know, it all kind of feeds into one as it motivates you to do better, to do more, and go out and keep grinding.
mm. And I think that's a good point too. I think for my last question for today, Alex, before I let you go, because I'm sure you've been yammering enough on various interviews as it is today. The UK scene. So I've been to Arctangent a couple of times, like a couple of years ago, just post lockdown. And what I'm noticing lately, I mean, again, you're the third English, like UK based band that I'm interviewing this week. Bleed from Within. I've also interviewed recently. I've been watching just Svalbard, for instance, Harriet. A lot of those, it seems like there's almost like a mass groundswell happening at the same time in the UK, like metal and hardcore scene. So I just think it's an interesting. What do you think might be behind that? The fact that there's a lot of modern metal and hardcore bands that are all kind of taking off in the UK and from the UK onto the international scene. Um, do you have any thoughts about what might be driving that from a like a UK perspective?
I feel like the UK is blessed because we have a lot of festivals that cater to a lot of different tastes, and we'll put a lot of different bands in front of a lot of people.
Mm,
You know, we have festivals like Download Festival, Bloodstock, who are like lean more towards the metal world. Then you've got your hardcore festivals like Outbreak, which is a legendary festival in the hardcore realm. And then you've got your more slightly niche stuff, like you said, Arctangent, Damnation. You've just got so many festivals that where you can go to and you can see a whole range of bands. And I feel like that motivates bands from the UK. Like the UK's always been like a hotbed for heavy metal and hardcore in my eyes.
yeah, definitely.
So and alongside that, you've got these festivals pushing new bands out all the time, and
Mm,
you know, it's just it's a good place to be. I feel like at the minute, I feel like the the scene and whether it be metal or hardcore is in a pretty strong place at the minute. Um, and I feel like yeah, it's just it motivates people to start bands and start writing music, um, which is only ever a good thing in my eyes, you know.
mm. Well, it sounds like you guys are in a really motivated place in general, and rightfully so. So I'm looking forward to catching you guys again when we see you in May. I'm
Yeah.
looking forward on everyone else's behalf. I'm lucky enough. I mean, this ain't a paid gig, but one of the perks is I get to listen to advanced copies of albums, and the new album, man, the production on that is just um it's definitely grafting like metallic hardcore with a lot of hookiness, but also a nice balance between grittiness and also clean, if that makes sense. Anyway,
Yeah. Yeah. Thank
I'm
you. I
better at
appreciate that.
writing my reviews than I am at reviewing improv in an interview. But
No, that's cool, man.
it's great production, and I think my kind of thoughts for the listeners slash viewers is if you've enjoyed the first single, um, I think expect a lot more of that just up tempo, high quality stuff. And congrats on all your successes, and we look forward to pretty much throwing down in the pit across Australia when we see you guys next.
Likewise, man. I'm looking forward to it a lot. Can't wait to be back. And yeah, thank you very much for having me. Appreciate you taking
Not
the
a
time.
problem. Awesome. All right, you take care, man. Take a break from all us interviewers.
All good, brother. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Alex. Cheers, man.
Cheers, mate. Take care.
See ya.